I was just using the right
Oh,
arm.
you're getting ready to talk.
No, I gotta wait for the roll call.
Well, that's why I was saying. Well, wait a minute or two. So I had a second. You don't feel like standing more than that. All right. We are live. Are we rolling? We are.
Just from the counter.
I know, it's freezing out there. We will call the Village of Holly Parks Commission meeting of January 5th, 2022 to order at 7 p.m. Lisa, can you get a roll call?
Peltonen,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
McCanny, Hutchins,
Here.
Powers,
Here.
Summers,
Here.
Rankin.
Present. Sarah did notify me that she wasn't going to make this meeting. She's out of state taking care of some family business. Entertain a motion to excuse her.
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Motion by Powers, support by Hutchins to excuse Sarah McCanny from tonight's meeting. Can we get a roll call?
Summers,
Yes.
Peltonen,
Yes.
Hutchins,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes. You have the agenda in front of you. Does anybody have any changes they would like to see otherwise? Make a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second. Motion by Powers, second by Summers. Roll call, please.
Peltonen,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
McCanny, Hutchins,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes. You also have minutes from October 6th, 2021's meeting in front of you. If anybody has any kind of questions or comments, now would be the time to make them. Otherwise, we will approve the motion. Mr. Hutchins.
On page 2, under my comment here, it says Commissioner Hutchins stated the Township Parks Commission okayed the rule of orders boulders. They
I think
will be.
that was a typo. I think that was when we were discussing the row of boulders, the row of
Row.
boulders.
Yeah, yeah,
At
Yeah, so-
Waterworks.
yeah. They okayed the removal of the boulders, you know, from Township Parks is what they meant to
Right.
say. Yeah, that's all I have to add.
Yeah, I read through that and I just, but yes, noted.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the minutes as explained by Mr. Hutchins.
I move.
Second.
All right. Motion to approve the minutes from October's meeting by Powers, second by Summers. Roll call, please.
Peltonen,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Hutchins,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes. Oh, and we're here.
I couldn't hear any of you.
Oh,
Oh,
you can hear us now.
Down.
Okay, good. Do we have any public comment not related to any of the items on the agenda? Mr. Love? How was your New Year?
Oh, boy. We got a cold one out there now.
Yes, we do.
I see you have future projects here.
Yep.
I don't know if, maybe I'll talk some more about that, I guess, when we get to that, I don't know. But I'd like to see some kind of outline of what the goals are for next year and what's been accomplished this year, so that you have some record of what we're going for. But you got future projects on here, so that might qualify. I'd like to see something done on this Township Village river walk where they own the properties along the side of the river from Fish Lake all the way into the village. To, develop that or put a pathway or something in there to improve that, access to that place. And the Waterworks Park, I don't know what happened to the outdoor toilet. Comes in handy once in a while. And I don't know.
Excuse me, what do you mean? I'm not sure I know what you mean, John.
There was no toilet there.
But you're talking about the Porta-John.
Yeah.
Does it get removed in the winter?
Yes, they all get removed in the winter from
Yeah.
Yeah.
November to April. It's been
Very
that
good.
way since I've been here.
So it's from November to what?
April.
It gets warmer there a little later. Do we save money by not doing it, or who?
About
who runs it?
$600 a month.
Is that what, how much?
$600 a month.
Wow. That's a lot of crap.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a loss that we have. Also, well, we spent $40,000 on the Waterworks building there. One thing that I've talked to in the past is that they dumped construction debris into the river by the foundation of the Waterworks building, and nothing's been done about that. Came back with a big dump truck and dumped it in there. If you stand on the platform up there, you look down, you can see the crushed rocks and bricks and debris that was deposited by the contractor into the river there. And the other one is the banners. I'd like to see something come up with for the banners, because they're looking dingy, and I think there's something other in Holly than the home of the Broncos. We have some assets here, and these assets should be promoted. And one of them is the parks. And that's a great thing that we have. And of course, the other thing is this deal with the township property up there on North Holly Road. They just fixed the doors to the barn. There's a lot more work that needs to be done. They didn't put the windows. The windows in the one building, the curtains are blowing out of the window in the house there. And something should be done to have some kind of vision. I went to the township meeting when they discussed what the plan was for this thing, and I couldn't even follow it. In essence, it looked like they were just going to paint everything over and build a lot of stuff. And that just doesn't add to what we should be doing here in the township and the villages. Even though this is just a village, we're also part of the township. So we have an interest in it, not necessarily through this group, but as citizens and members of the township. That's my non-agenda items. We'll see what you come up with in
Thanks, John.
your future project.
All right, there is no old business. Oh, yes, can't forget that. Item 1 under general business, that's really bad. We are to elect officers at the first meeting of each year. We can do that now. We only need to choose a chair and a coach or a vice chair. We don't have a secretary or a treasurer.
Can I ask a question here, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Is there any reason we can't do this every other year instead of every year?
Because our bylaws state that we have to do it every January.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay, simple.
yeah, so we just need a motion for
Motion that Chris-
for a chair, and then a motion for a co-chair.
I'll motion that Chris Rankin remain as chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, wow. We've got a motion with a second, a third, and a fourth.
I think that was a vote, was it?
Can we get a roll call?
Peltonen,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Hutchins,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes. And then we'll also need a motion for a co-chair. Sarah expressed interest in that she would accept the position of co-chair again if
Oh.
it was so moved, or if somebody else was interested.
I'll make a motion at this time to leave her as co-chair.
Second.
So we've got a motion by Hutchins and a second by Summers for keeping Sarah McCanney at the vice chair position in the parks. Can we get a roll call, please?
Hutchins,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Peltonen,
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes. All right. And every year in January, we tentatively schedule our spring cleanup. And we shall do so again.
Okay.
Does anybody have any dates in mind? Any ideas of, which parks we should start with?
I'd like to discuss maybe
Plans of what
of
we should do.
mid-March, going through a walkthrough to see how Mother Nature has left us for this winter,
Okay.
I was gonna suggest that.
about mid-March.
Yeah.
That way we get rid of most of the snow by then.
All right. So let's see what's going on in March.
Just a reminder, March 26th is spring break for the schools, so if anybody has plans, there might not be some people in town.
So we either do it the week or two before that, or we wait until the second or third week of April.
I think mid-March, we should kind of handle or get a feel for what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
That leaves us April to do a schedule or whatever, or the March meeting, April
Okay.
meeting.
So Saturday, we have the 12th or the 19th. Sunday, we could do the 13th or the 20th.
The 12th works for me.
That would be a Saturday, the second Saturday in March. Going once, going twice. Let's,
I'll second that, or
well, we don't need a motion, we're just tentatively scheduling the walkthrough
For the
Time?
12th? The 12th?
for the 12th.
Okay.
9 o'clock again?
9 a.m., sound good to me?
What park do we start at?
Flip a coin.
Lakeside?
I think Lakeside and Waterworks, and probably Ganshaw are the three that
Yeah, those are the
that
three.
generally need the most attention.
All right, let's start at Lakeside.
Lakeside it is. Okay. Item number 3 on our agenda, Waterworks Gazebo. Brian, I assume you have something for us?
Yeah, I just wanted to give an update. I was working with a company, going back and forth, and they finally sent me over some prices, and it was a little bit of sticker shock, but I was able to get a foundation of what we're looking for, so I was gonna talk to Curtains and see what kind of price we get from them. I know, talking with some of my contractor friends, that lumber is on the rise again, so hopefully by spring that we'll be able to, and then I'll get some final numbers from Debbie of what we got left in this year's budget. The swings finally did come in, they kept moving the date, I think we got them
Right.
about mid-December. So those will get installed first thing in the spring,
Great.
and then, hopefully we'll have enough money to get the gazebo up.
Can we, when you get your pricing from Curtin, will you also have them price out like whatever their trucks material is for the decking and the railing, so that we don't have to paint it every year?
Yeah,
I think that would be.
yeah,
I
I'm
think
trying to
that-
get as maintenance-free as possible.
I know that those materials are probably twice as expensive as the lumber, but I think not having to paint it every 3 years and.
Well, the company, everything would come pre-painted or and that was one of the expenses, and then I told them what I had for a budget, and it got scaled way down, and I'm like, I don't think we really want to go that route, to just a plain. So,
Right, yeah, I think we'd rather do the
a little bit more decorative and some railings and stuff.
Well, I think we'd just rather do something more like the Trex material, so that we don't have just wood that has to be repainted every few years.
steel roof and Trex.
Oh, there you go, steel roof wouldn't be a bad idea either.
Okay, then I will,
So,
I'll
just
make some
so that we
notes.
have some options. I
Yep.
mean, I know it's gonna be more expensive to do it, but if we get something that lasts, 20 or 30 years without any maintenance, as opposed to 2 or 3, that's
Well, if we
a
keep
lot
that
of
in mind
savings.
and I get a final budget number, then maybe we can purchase a majority of the materials this year and wrap it up with the new budget and, put a small portion of whatever we're looking at for new budget for that area too.
30 years of maintenance adds up real quick.
Well, it adds up,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it takes 30 years, but yeah,
Yeah.
it adds
Yeah.
up to a lot.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on, our future projects and budget wishes. I don't know if anybody showed up with any of those to this meeting. If we haven't, I would implore everyone to put their list together so that we can have some idea of what we would like to present in, what is it, March for our budget?
Yeah, that's what I put it, had them, the ladies put it on the agenda, because this gets you guys thinking, gives us February, March to finalize some things, and then usually the end of March, 1st of April, we start finalizing the overall budget.
Right.
I know preliminary, there's been talk of increasing the parks budget if some of the stimulus money or whatever they're calling, those different things come through.
Right.
So,
Brian,
yes.
do you know if the parks have ever applied for or ever received any grants? Has that ever been part of anything?
Not since I've been here.
Okay.
Most of the time, there's a match to them. That's
Right.
20 to 30%.
Right,
And since I've been here, our parks budget for projects has been, this last year was 15,000, which was the highest, so
right.
it's tough to do a major project with that kind of matching funds, so.
Second question on that, because I was just playing around on the internet on that subject. What was I going to ask you? So how would that work if a grant was written? Like, would if I was researching that and decided, hey, we should try and get this grant?
Bring it before the Parks Commission.
Okay.
And then they would say, we want to move forward with that, then it would go in front of council, and if they approved it, then we would move forward with it,
Okay,
so,
all right, thank you.
yeah.
Chris?
Yes, sir.
Right now, there's a grant through Oakland County Parks that we can apply for.
That's, I've got an update on that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, Tony has just been applying for that too.
so,
Yeah,
There's a lot of competition, but, it's,
They,
Right, yeah.
Well, they just passed a millage this past year for like $12 million over 10 years. So there's 1.2 million available
Yeah.
each year. Actually, I've got,
Consumers always has one too. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
my wife actually was doing some research and came across this, where they have different categories of
yeah,
grants, and one of them is trailways, so Waterworks being a national water trail would qualify. And one of them is also for parks, that are the like trailhead parks, which it would qualify for that as well. So there's a couple of different things that Waterworks would qualify for. Their match minimum, they do the point system, and the minimum match is 25%. And of course, the more you have, the higher, you get more points for that category, so you're more likely to get their grant. But I was going to bring that up later, but since
Okay.
we've covered that already. So we'll do some research on that. The one thing we do have to have is our 5-year plan has to be in place. So I know last year we had talked about having Roe do our 5-year plan. Did we put that in the budget, or did we talk about putting that in this year's budget? Or which
We
would
had
be?
gotten a cost back from that, and we talked about looking at maybe some other vendors because of the cost of the roll on the charges to do it.
Okay,
So, and I think that's as far as it got.
okay, yeah, because, we need to have somebody do it, because I know our 5-year plan is, I think, 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah, I think last year it was due, and a lot of the grants, the federal grants, you have to have a 5-year plan
Right.
to apply for those.
Yep,
Because I think originally that was the plan when you updated it, original.
I think I did it.
6, 7 years ago.
I think it was 2016 or 2015 that it was redone.
Yeah, that there was might be some options for some grants, and then they never.
Yeah, then nothing ever materialized.
Yeah.
Okay, so your homework before the next meeting is gonna be, all the projects, everything you wanna see done to parks. Reach for the sky, aim for the stars, that whole thing. Do we wanna see a bathroom facility at Waterworks? Do we wanna see a a new play structure at Crapo or Lakeside? Do we want, a splash pad at Lakeside or, something, I mean, right. I mean, I think the last major project we did was the big gazebo at Lakeside. I don't have any other major projects. So, I mean, it's been a while since we've done any large projects in the parks. And a lot of our equipment is, it's due. We can only stretch it out. So, I mean, we've done a good job of making the structures we have last. I mean, those swing sets are probably from the 60s. So, but anyway, so put a list together, and then we'll bring it back next month, and we'll try and put some dollar amounts on them. And Brian, you'll have to help us with that, but
Yep.
We'll reconvene on that subject next month.
And for some of the newer members, I mean, typically in the past, the budget for projects has been between 10 and 15, but like I said, there's been talk of trying to get an increase, and then if we have a grant that, realistically we can give, then we can look at trying to get the matching funds for that, so.
Right. Okay. Moving on, number 5 is the 2022, 2022 fireworks raffle fundraiser.
Yeah, Jerry asked me to speak on this. In the past, we've raffled off a Harley, we raffled off, last year was a four-wheeler. This year, he's talking with a golf cart company to get a custom golf cart to raffle off. Ticket prices will be the same, $10 each, 3 for $25. Typically, the 2 fireworks show runs about $15,000. That's paid through donations, and we do this fundraiser. So what Jerry'd like to see from the Parks Commission is a motion that you guys are on board with this idea, and then that'll take it to the council to approve the fundraiser project. And then once that gets off the ground, then of course, we'll have to sell tickets. And
I'll make that motion.
Support.
All right. Motion by Powers, support by Hutchins, to recommend to the village council an authorization to apply for a raffle license and conduct the raffle for the golf cart to help fund the 2022 fireworks.
Only one question on a golf cart. Is this a gas or electric?
it doesn't say, it just says he's made tentative arrangements with LaFontaine Carts of Highland. The cost would be between $9,500 and $10,000. So I would imagine there's probably an option at that price range for you.
Well, I find with the golf cart scenarios, the best one is the gas because you can take it off-road. The batteries weigh so much on electric, you can't go off-road with them. So it's probably more likely a gasser, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, it may be similar to the ATV, that you get a certificate for this amount of money and you can go and pick your card out.
Oh, there you
Because
go.
that's what they did with the ATV, that you got, I think it was $4,000 or $4,500 voucher to take to the motorsports place, and you can pick out the ATV of your choice or use that amount towards whatever that you want. So.
That's cool.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Now, do we usually, are enough tickets sold to cover the cost of the golf cart and fireworks?
Not all the fireworks. We do get donations from some of our vendors. I think last year $7,500 was made on the.
Yeah, I mean, we did pretty well on the raffle
for
last
the
year.
holidays, so that covered that, and it covered the cost of the voucher. So there was a big push at the end where a lot of tickets were sold the day of. Just because you're there, and they had a display earlier during the day, so a lot of people seen it and stuff like that. We did have some problems last year with that vendor getting a display model, which I think Jerry is talking with these guys a little bit earlier. So different events, we can get it down during car cruises or stuff throughout the spring, summer, before we do the raffle in September, so that people can actually see what they're buying tickets for, and then
Right.
it might
Generate some
generate,
excitement.
yes, more sales. So.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Can we get a roll call, please?
Hutchins,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Summers.
Yes.
Peltonen.
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reports. Brian?
I think we talked about a lot of it. I mentioned the benches. Couple things, Nick Klemp is working on the grant that Joe talked about with Oakland County and I sent a letter of support today with them to get permanent bathrooms at Crapo Park. And some of our in-kind match would be running the water and sewer lines to it. We just have to verify where they're at and the best location for the permanent bathrooms. And I know we're working with the DDA to get some permanent bathrooms downtown. And sort of got sticker shock of some prefab bathrooms, but so we're gonna try to see if there's some other options out there besides just this one company. Because EDA has budgeted some money to put towards downtown bathrooms, permanent downtown bathrooms. So we would have actually 2 new bathrooms if we can get this grant and get some at Crapo Park also. And then we would have year-round bathrooms because we would have to put heat in them. So.
That would be wonderful.
And the other thing that Nick is working on is a DIA downtown art project. They're bringing DIA art project back to Holly in the downtown area. The project has a DIA bringing reproductions of art in the downtown for the summer, and they would like to put one on the west side of Crapo Park near the pavilion. So we'd like to have a motion that you guys would like to see that at Crapo Park. So
I would like to see that at Crapo Park.
Is that a motion?
I make a motion to get that at Crapo Park.
Support?
Okay, so we have a motion supporting art in the park from the DIA by Peltonen, support by Hutchins. Can we get a roll call?
Peltonen.
Yes.
Hutchins.
Yes.
Powers.
Yes.
Summers.
Yes.
Berger.
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
And the last thing I'd like to address is, it was brought up about construction debris at Waterworks. The village pulled a soil erosion permit through the county, and the county inspected it on a weekly basis for several months and found no violations. So if we would have dumped construction material into the river, we would have been in violation of our soil erosion permit. So there was no, there was no, it was riprap that was dumped, which is allowable, so.
Yeah, it was there to keep the
Soil erosion,
banks
yeah.
from eroding.
Right.
It wasn't just construction debris, it was specifically crushed concrete.
Right, it was riprap material, so.
Right.
Is that all you have for us, Brian?
I hope so.
Board member comments. Mr. Hutchins.
I went up into the boulder dump, and there's one rock out near the ball diamonds, and there's 25 up in the boulder dump.
Okay.
And they're all good size. There's 26 total.
We probably need a half a dozen.
Well, there's different sizes. One up there I would call a monument stone. It's a nice enough stone you could put a bronze plaque on if you ever wanted to use it for that reason.
Okay.
It's a really beautiful, if you like rocks. I was a rock hound in Arizona because there's nothing else to do but sit on a cactus, or collect rocks.
Right.
But there's a really nice, one of the rocks up there is nice.
Okay. So maybe we could use
Whenever-
that inside the
whenever-
park instead of just for a parking block.
Yeah, and so whenever Brian, shows enough time to get up in there, because the ground's getting hard now,
Well, yeah, I'm sure it'll be summer before we're able to do that again.
but I mean, where he's got to get is frozen, so it's easy. These rocks don't have to be dug, they just got to be rolled and put on a truck.
Oh, they're not buried.
Yeah, they're not buried.
I figured
No,
they were kind of in the ground.
that's what we call it, the boulder dump. They're sitting right there,
Okay.
so they can be snagged with a.
Yeah, so in your
backhoe.
spare time, Brian, would you run
Yeah.
over there?
Yeah.
On your way
Put a
home
couple on my
tonight.
shoulder, rub it.
On your way home tonight, you want to take a couple with you?
Yeah.
But like I say, there's some nice rocks up there.
Brian's wandering out like Atlas.
Yeah.
Strong man kind of,
And the only other thing I have to comment on is Township Parks. We have all the baskets in place for disc golf.
Nice.
So when spring comes, we're going to put the cement pads in. But right now, it's more or less playable without the cement pads. We've got some rubber pads going in temporarily. Then we'll add the cement pads later. But
And what are the cement pads? Just like a slab around the base of it?
yeah,
Okay.
so that's what we've been working on. And it should bring a lot of things to Holly. So,
Yeah, people love disc golf.
yep.
And it's 18 holes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is it just 9?
It's 18 holes.
18, okay, that's
It's
what I
quite a
thought.
course all around through. So
Yeah.
it also expanded our trail system.
I bet.
Yeah, nicely. They did a really nice job. I think it would be one of the premier layouts around the local area.
Really?
Yeah, because it's
Sweet.
totally different. It's El Natural, and it's a
Right.
real challenge. These guys are really sharp because they've done work with everybody else. Most of it's on golf courses or open areas. And this
This
was,
isn't.
this was a blank canvas. So they made it very interesting.
Okay.
We'll see. That's all I have to report.
Mr. Powers?
I have nothing.
Ms. Peltonen?
I don't.
Nothing further? Ms. Berger?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Summers?
Thumbs the word here too.
All right, well, all I had to go on about was my wife finding these grant programs through Cleveland County Parks, the $12 million over the next 10 years, and then the various categories where we could possibly get some grants as soon as we get our 5-year plan in place. So the sooner we get that done, the better. These grants will be available, like I say, for the next 10 years of this, so 2021 was or 2022 is the first year that they're available, so if we can make some headway on that in 23, that would be great.
I got a question.
Shoot.
For the 5-year plan, do we have money to,
We'd have to budget it for it.
Yeah, that would have to be one of the things in our budget. I know we talked about it last year, and
so if we put it in the budget, then it would be for the
Next.
next year?
Well, it would be 22, 23, so it'll be
Yeah.
available after July 1st.
Oh, okay.
so we could do it this year, just not till the second half.
I have a question on that
Got it.
too. You did such a great job with the 5-year plan. Us as a board, why couldn't we review this and update it ourselves instead of spending the money? I mean, this is not rocket science. And we don't need an architect's stamp on it.
And not a whole lot has changed.
Not a whole lot's changed, you know. The only thing that's changed is the wants and the wherefores.
What was the cost of it, the estimate of the contractor doing it
It
again?
was $12,000.
12, okay.
Yeah, I
It's
thought it
all
was
our
10.
budget.
10 or 12,000. Yeah, so, yeah, it was a majority of the budget.
Yeah, I think back 6 or 7 years ago when we were going to do it before, it was $6,000 or $7,000.
Yeah. Now it's double.
And we were like, boy, we could do that ourselves. I'm like, yeah, I could probably put that together.
But
And
you
then
know, you invented
14 months later, we had it.
You invented the wheel, so all we gotta do is put a little air in it and roll it down the road some more. You know what I'm saying? As a board here, because we've got new members on board, they can review what we looked at back then and see how far we've evolved. You know, done that, no, didn't, no, that isn't important, this is important. Everything's changed a little bit, so why can't we do that as a board?
I think we almost have to with that kind of cost, because it's the whole budget, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't think we really have a,
This is not
Budget
rocket
choice,
science,
but-
you know?
I mean, we,
Because
You
the
already
grants
done
will
it.
be for
You
one
already- you already
project.
done it.
Right,
We
and I know how difficult it was.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was,
hard.
and a lot of it was just the technicality of putting it together.
Yeah.
And, you know, putting the maps and finding the new maps and the, you know, the land use and.
It's a lot of work.
And, you know, it's 100 pages of, you know,
In our maps and stuff, our village hasn't grown any, and the only thing that change is our map of uses. That much hasn't changed. So like I say, you've done all the hard work, and this is a good document to work with. I mean, I'd say we're 3/4 of the way down the road if we look at yours. And cheaply.
well,
You
it
know.
was, it was inexpensive except for my time.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
can,
I
I can provide the
can't,
emails, Chris, and I'll send them to you, and then, because I'm not sure I have everybody's email.
Okay.
So then you can send it out, and we can put it on as a new, or general business, old business for next time,
Okay.
and then we can discuss it
Yeah.
in the February meeting, and then
In,
that way
yeah,
we
in
can
an
look
actual
at.
setting instead of in comments.
Well, and then, instead of, you know, if we want to break it up, that, you know, Rick does a certain amount,
I
Katrina does a
gotcha.
certain amount, and then, and if you think you can pull it off, then maybe we just have
Yeah, I'd have
Roe
to,
or somebody review it to make sure everything's there, and that might be a lot cheaper than having them actually prepare it.
yeah.
right.
Like I say, the wheel, you already invented the wheel when it was expensive back then. Now it's really
and as
expensive.
much as I want to take the credit, I didn't even really invent the wheel because I just basically updated the previous parks
But still,
5-year plan.
you put air in that wheel again, and we'll put air in the wheel again. But there's more of us to do it this time instead of loading it up on one or two people.
Well, let's put it on next month's agenda and we'll go over it in detail. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, everybody pull up the parks 5-year plan that's on the village website and get familiar with all of the information that is in it. And you can, when you read through it, you'll be able to tell, okay, well, this section is still gonna be the same. It's, we still have basically the same land use map from the from the planning commission. And then you'll go to the next part and go, okay, well, this is definitely gonna have to be improved or updated because it's what we wanted to do 7 years ago with Ganshow, or what we wanted to do 7 years ago with Waterworks. And, oh, hey, we've already done that, so that's out of the way, we can take that off the list.
And one thing while we're discussing uses, Brian, we discussed before the Bell Building behind the police station.
Yes.
What were we looking to make the into? A bathroom or storage or what?
I don't know because there's no power or utilities there. When Bell moved out, they had consumers disconnect everything.
Yeah.
So it's just a building per se.
But still, the water and sewer's still near there from the police station.
Yeah, but
Because-
there's also, I think there's that property sold, the old fire station sold. So there's an easement or access to the water tower and that building, so it's limited. It's not like you have full use of it. It's all, because it's a addendum to the sale of the property that makes that exclusive use for the village.
But still, we could make that into a bathroom, foot traffic available from, because we're gonna move the depot.
Yeah, well, that's why they're looking at the grant to put a dual stall, a men's and women's bathroom at Crable Park, because then that would be close to where the depot's at, and also have a permanent bathroom at that park.
Would it be economically feasible to move that Bell Building and set it back down on a slab with the plumbing and things to go with it in Crapo Park? Because that's a pretty good building. I mean, that's no shack, you know?
No, yeah, we did take a look at it and see what the cost is versus, so.
Because while you're moving the depot, put a chain on the Bell Building and drag her along, you know?
I wish it was that easy, we could do that with the depot.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what you can move. Yeah. That's the only comment I have about the Bell Building where we're looking at
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Did you give us copies of that 5-year plan? I'll have to
Years
look
ago,
for it.
yes.
5 or 7 years ago?
Yeah, it was probably, it was 2015 when I think
I
we
probably
completed
have
it.
that somewhere.
You probably, yeah, I probably have a copy I can show you. I'm sure I have one in my,
Well,
What-
it's thick enough, I think.
Well, we could also
I'll
get
find it.
the village could give it, the village can make more copies of one of those and hand them out though too, you know?
Mhm.
Well, it should be on the village website,
yeah,
Okay.
it is.
yeah, so you should be able to
Okay.
access to the village website.
We seem to be okay now.
All right.
And I'll find the cost estimate from Roe and forward that to Chris and get some information, and then he can forward it, or we can just add it as part of the parks packet for February, so everybody has
Yeah,
it again.
do that as well.
Okay.
If there is nothing further,
Got one
Oh.
quick thing. I'd like to get a governmental email for the village parks. How do I do that?
so I don't think we have government email
mean-
for anybody except for council.
Okay, I thought you had one, no?
Well, I did it one time, but I,
Okay, so we just use our own
The village has
emails?
to pay for those, so I think
Okay.
that's the only one they give is for council.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
so, and I don't even use my if I still have a village email, I
Okay.
never,
I was
I never
wondering, I
use it
saw
because
yours and Sarah's, that was it.
well, we created, so everybody, I think we had a format that we sent, that
Yeah, it
I
was
sent out to
first
do.
initial, last name at
Yeah, no,
hollyparks@gmail.
You don't do
no,
that anymore?
It's
Okay.
not, that's not what it is. It's, I think it was just lastname.villageparks@gmail,
Okay.
I think is what we went to.
I never use it.
You
So-
guys created that as a group, so.
Yeah, that was just
Oh,
us.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
So-
not a governmental
No.
email,
We can
it's
go
just a
back and
Gmail account, which is
Yeah,
free.
okay.
That was a
And we just wanted
board
everybody
email.
to have the same
Yeah, we'd like
format.
to do that, yeah.
So you just lastname.villageparks@gmail.
So just go to Gmail and do that.
And do it, yeah, and make a
Okay.
Gmail account with,
Gotcha.
summers.villageparks@gmail.
All right.
I'll have to
And that-
remember that, Chris, because I think I've sent you some things at the Holly Village and never.
Oh, at my village email, that,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I did too.
when everybody else couldn't get one, didn't have one, and I, once I wasn't on council anymore, and I just stopped using it.
Okay.
So I don't even access it anyway. And then actually, it was only on the computer at the building where I used to work, and it didn't get moved to my new building, so I don't even know, I don't even know how I would access it anymore.
So, last name, villageparks
Yeah.
dot Gmail.
Last name dot villageparks@gmail.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
That's good enough.
Not seeing any further hands in the air, we will adjourn
Wait,
at
yeah,
7:40.
public
You missed
Oh,
public
do we-
comment.
Oh, I skipped right over the second public comment. Well, let me take that back. John, did you have something else?
I was just wondering what the budget was.
10 to 15.
Well, what was it last year?
15,000, I think, is what
Yeah.
the final
I
budget
think
was. I think we started out at 25 and some things got cut.
So if you look at the actual parks budget in the budget book, I think it ends up being like $40,000, but that includes all the the grass cutting and the maintenance and the all of the other things that get
There's a supply
parsed out.
account in there, which,
Yeah.
there's part-time seasonal in there, there's.
Right.
Supplies for lawnmowers.
So the
and-
$15,000 is just for projects.
Okay, that's what I did.
But I think, yeah, the overall budget's right around 40,000.
I think so. I think that's what it was.
The other thing is, one thing that would help is signs. They don't have any sign that, here's where you go to swim at the beach on the main street.
We don't have a beach.
Beach sign.
That's township.
That's township.
Township.
There's no swimming at
I was
Lakeside.
gonna say, we don't have a beach.
Well, I know we don't, but it's available for people from the village.
What is the swimming at Lakeside?
I'll,
Yeah.
There is no swimming at Lakeside because of the glass.
Oh, at the Township Beach there.
next to
That's
Lakeside.
township.
I know, it's also the village people use it.
Yeah, so you have to bring it up to the township.
No, the village can put a sign in the village saying Township Beach or something like that.
That they
That's
could.
my
Yeah,
concern.
they certainly could. We got the canoe signs up.
Also, I don't know how many people, I never knew how good they had a boat launch out there.
Oh, by the cemetery, yeah.
There's no sign there to find that.
There's both
Yeah.
signs.
So, there should be something that would list these kind of things that are available. That's one of my concerns. Because it took me a couple of years before I even know about the boat launch. And then we got the cemetery, which is the Historic Society puts that tour on, but it's a really interesting place just to walk through.
It is, yeah. I was actually,
And the history of it is that, the Civil War goes back to quite a while.
yeah.
And you can find the next week or two. Well,
Thanks,
that's
John.
just some of the things that I was thinking about as we went through talking about. I don't know where this bell building is.
Quite honestly, I don't either. I assume Joe knows where it's at.
What's that?
The Bell
Right
Building.
next to the water tower.
Oh, yeah, right
Yeah,
next to the
right
water
Oh,
tower.
oh, yeah, I do know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Behind the
It's at the
police
base of the water tower. Next to the old fire station,
Okay.
across the driveway there. It's like the utility building for the water tower, is what it looks like.
Behind the police station,
Not behind it, it's
Next to it.
I know where the water tower is.
north of it.
that
Yeah,
water tower,
go look by the base of the water tower, there's a brick building there.
the old water tower, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll try this again, and then now we'll adjourn at 7:43.
Have a good year.
Thank you.
You're just part of the
We're not
furniture.
allowed to comment.
Wait.
You're the help. You're not public. I don't know, what was up with all that feedback?
I don't know, all of a sudden.
It must have been that
Nobody,
5,
nobody moved anything, nobody did anything, I just,
it was that 5G testing.
Hang on, man, we're still going, the computer froze. This has been a great night.
it's worked out well. Let's see if I can find my other email.
Alrighty. Night.
I heard the bid on that, they had a bid on them doors on the barn out there at $9,000.
What?
Well, there's a little bit more on the backside too, the doors for the downstairs, they weren't
Probably
much.
half of that is cost of lumber.
Yeah.